помощи.
On the night of August 23rd, a U.S. Air Force C-17A Globemaster lifted off from Joint Base Andrews, the same installation that houses Air Force One, and instead of a routine diplomatic route, it made an unannounced stop in Riga, Latvia, before continuing straight into Moscow's Vnukovo Airport. On board was John Ratcliffe, director of the CIA, on his first known trip to Russian soil since taking the role, a journey so secretive that flight tracking data exposed it before Washington said a single word. For 8.5 hours, Ratcliffe sat inside Moscow with Russia's most senior intelligence officials, while a U.S. diplomatic motorcade was spotted moving through the Russian capital near military installations. According to multiple reports, this wasn't a courtesy visit. It was the delivery of a warning that American intelligence believes Vladimir Putin is preparing a limited, deniable strike on a NATO member, and Washington wanted the Kremlin to know it was watching.
Contacts through intelligence service channels are in themselves a positive phenomenon, but it is premature to say this will bring our relations out of a profound crisis.
The Kremlin confirmed the meeting happened, but stayed deliberately vague about what was said, while insisting President Putin himself never sat across the table, only receiving a briefing after the fact. That ambiguity alone has fueled a wave of speculation from Washington to Brussels. Because this warning didn't arrive out of nowhere. NATO's own Secretary-General Mark Rutte has already told the alliance point-blank that Russia's entire economy has been converted into a war economy, and that within 5 years, Moscow could be ready to use military force directly against NATO soil.
Russia could be ready to use military force against NATO within 5 years.
Germany's foreign minister went even further than Rutte, warning that intelligence services are urgently reporting Russia is already creating the option for a war against NATO by 2029. A warning echoed by Germany's BND intelligence chief, who said flatly that officials inside the Kremlin no longer believe Article 5 would actually be enforced, and that they'd like to test it. Not everyone agrees the danger is this close. Russia's military has lost more than 14,000 armored combat vehicles and over 2,000 artillery pieces in Ukraine alone, according to open-source tracking. Losses so heavy that some of Washington's own defense analysts believe full reconstitution could take Moscow the better part of a decade. President Trump, for his part, brushed off Ratcliffe's Moscow trip entirely, calling it semi-routine in a radio interview and denying it had anything to do with NATO, Britain, or Iran.
Sort of semi-routine. I hate to disappoint people.
Semi-routine or not, history says otherwise about visits like this one. The last time a sitting CIA director made an unannounced trip to Moscow was November 2021, when William Burns personally warned Putin against invading Ukraine. 3 months later, that invasion happened anyway. Whether Ratcliffe's warning lands differently this time may be the question that defines the next chapter of European security.